Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drake Wing Game, and it's suddenly on Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you to the Let's Play episode of The Echo, Flynn's Path. So yeah, before we jump into it, just wanted to let y'all know that our Patreon is out for as little as $5. Y'all can help support the channel, get some awesome rewards like permanent access to our community Discord server and full access to upcoming Not Safe for Work videos. Anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back in. Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go. Back into the horror of Echo. Alright. Black cars in the desert ain't a good mix unless you're keen on baking. He reaches into the car and pulls out a lumpy something wrapped in a flamboyantly colored beach towel. I recognize the faded logo in the corner as the one from the Southwestern Adventures. An old souvenir, maybe. Mark herks as he steps in front of the mayor with it, setting it on the ground. First thing I see are the feet sticking out of the end. Someone in the back, Heather, I think, screams. It's a banshee-like wail as Mark pulls back the fabric. No! Keith! It's not Keith. At first, it's difficult to tell exactly what I'm looking at. After a few moments, I can clearly see who it is. Oh my god. Who is it? I don't know who this is. Okay, person we've never seen before. That's Salem! Keith! Someone shut Heather the fuck up, please. Jesus. No. TJ begins to sob, his terrified sniffles mixing with Heather's confused, shrill cries. The boar is covered in lacerations, most of which are on his face. Two swipes of whatever cut him seem to have torn his eyes and part of his snout off. I always thought when someone had their eyes taken out, just be black holes inside, but it's pink. It's like I'm looking into a guy's brain. I feel like I'm gonna hurl. What happened to him? He tried to leave. Yeah, but how did that happen? The raccoon, who's up to this point I've never seen as anything but the strong, silent type, looks shaken up bad. He clutches his forehead with a paw, shaking his head. God, for a second he looked like somebody else. I barely know Salem. He's a recent move-in who originally squatted on vacant land in an RV until the landowner started making him pay to live there. He kept to himself, never even said two words to the guy. That's an accomplishment when you're stuck in a town with just about 50 people living here. Mark, tells me that's the third time he tried to leave. He saw him just laying there on the side of the road next to his RV. Oh, sorry, I got a bit of congestion today. Dead as a doorknob. So to answer your question, coon boy, I don't know. These things always end, but there's no clear definition of when or how. I advise, as I do in all trying times, to turn to the higher powers, pray and repent as you may. There you go. There's a shocked silence from those present. Daxton keeps shaking his head. Jenna tries her phone again. Misha or Mika? I'm forgetting. Mika stares off into the dark in the direction of the highway. I know how to make the visions stop. The weasel steps up to Auntie, though he's not looking at her. Yeah, what's your proposal, Duke? He points a finger toward Chase. Well, stop him. Chase sort of half blinks, his bloodshot eyes aimed all on focus like at the scruffy weasel. What? I can't discern who that voice came from. This has all happened before. He looks toward Auntie, who nods inquisitively. And it's only gonna get worse. It happened to my granddaddy, my daddy, and now it's happening to me. Well, me and the rest of yous. Dale's missing, Cynthia drove off into the desert, Clint and Jeremy are running around shooting and screaming at nothing. Thing is, we've all got something after us. Something bad. Won't let you leave when it starts. What's after you? The raspy voiced bat chimes up, still looking off into the desert away from the crowd. Duke's quiet for a moment, rolling a handmade cigarette between his thumb and index finger. It's always triggered by something. Duke begins to pace, still pointing at Chase. I seen you here last week before all the rest of your little friends showed up. Late at night outside his house. He nods in Leo's direction, the wolf clasping Chase's shoulder protectively. Just standing there. For hours and hours. Didn't even need to be asleep to see you. The last line rings strange, Duke saying it as if it makes perfect sense. Chase's gaze shifts to his feet, his legs beginning to tremble. Hey, I'm not saying you did it or that you were wanting all this all to happen. He steps over Salem's body, approaching the otter. It's just that you gotta know something. Anything that we can use to stop this. Because anytime I ask big old Leo here, he just got this glazed look in his eyes, telling me where I could stick my inquiries. That doesn't make sense. It makes sense. Well, someone told me that you would know. So at this point, I see the black metallic shape sticking out the back of the weasel's trousers. He's got a gun. Daxton flinches, seeing it too. Oh shit! Don't most people have guns in this town? I don't think that's a very strange thing considering it's fucking Echo. He mutters, and I feel Carl step closer against me. Who? Someone I know! He yells, leaning in closer to Chase. Leo steps completely in front of him, ears down with his fangs bared. It makes sense. Something bad happens, and if you don't fix it, it won't stop coming after you. Leo lets out a deep guttural rumble, looking like a pharaoh ready to pounce. Duke holds up his paw, smiling uneasily. This is all real timely with your friend showing up. So what happened, Chase? I don't know what you're talking about! Auntie exchanges a glance with Mark, and they both look to Chase, seemingly unconcerned that Duke is packing. Things are getting worse out here, and unless we do something, we're all going to end up like young Salem. Duke's voice is dead and distant. He's right. Auntie's voice cuts through the air like a knife. Next thing I know, her and Mark are stepping up beside Duke. Flynn, come here. My heart lurches at hearing my name called, and I strain myself to keep a straight face. I try not to look at the body as I walk up, feeling my backside illuminated by a dozen headlights in the gaze of the crowd. You locked Chase in the reading room with all those spiders. Why? You what? I didn't know about the spiders at the time, I mumble. Flynn. She looks away for a moment. Oh God. Let's go the middle option. Pretty sure he killed Sydney. I clutch my head, the blood in my veins feeling cold. It's as if the gravel beneath my feet is turning to quicksand. My mouth moves as if to say more, but I manage to bite my tongue. It just makes the pain worse. What the fuck is happening? I see Jenna covering her face with both paws, seemingly in disbelief this is really happening. There's a few murmurs from the gathering. Misha looks back at us, seemingly distracted from whatever was in the desert that he was staring at. You're talking about your little friend who drowned in the lake a decade ago? Yeah. Wow, kid. He clicks his tongue, shaking his head at the bedraggled-looking otter. That's fucked up. Chase starts to look like TJ again, as if on the urge of breaking down into sobs. He seems to be alternating it from angry, sad, and confused over and over again. It's bullshit, you know it, Flynn. You killed Sydney, you fucker. The pain flares, my vision blurring for a second. That's not true. I highly doubt that, lover boy. I'll beat all of your asses if you keep telling lies, yeah? He grins, eyeing the rifle in my hands. I clutch it more tightly. Duke turns, thumbing toward the wolf. It's already got him. He speaks with such idle nonchalance, not bothering to clarify what it is. Sid died like 10 years ago. This doesn't make any fucking sense. Well, this sort of murder happened before. My grandpappy lived through this whole thing and stayed in the town after. Yeah, that's right. It happened weeks after the body was found. Auntie rubs her thumb through her floral scarf, staring into the headlights of one of the old Jeeps. The one in the mines. The air got all electric and fuzzy. Folk went out of their heads. She's never talked about any of this before. How do you know that? Brett gabbed about it a lot when you were a youngin', and even before you were born. Dad. The whole superstition was part of his justification for making a library and booking it. Well, that and one other reason. I tried to ignore the last comment, still focusing on the increasingly tense stare down between Leo and Chase and Duke. I'd heard Mom and Dad hated Echo, mainly the usual grumblings about godlessness. Any ailments that they had were surely the fucking results of some latent sin. Point is, the ground beneath our feet is a tainted soil, rotten, shaky loam. Duke interrupts, but Auntie doesn't seem to mind. She's just frowning now, looking through the crowd of people. Her scarf's come undone due to all the fidgeting, and all the old scarves she has beneath are visible, tattered scales replaced with pink flesh. That's more rotten in some places. Y'all know the ones. My grandpappy thought that because they didn't catch the murderer, it planted some seeds in the bad dirt. But that ain't true. Duke rubs at a scab along his forehead, squeezing his cigarette so hard that the ash starts pouring out the other side like toothpaste. They caught him all right, then everything was okay for a while after they found him and he was killed. What the fuck does this have to do with Sydney? Duke continues, ignoring me. So I don't know what it is, if it's murder or guilt or not catching someone that did wrong. I shake my head. I can't believe this shit. Sid's not fucking haunting the town, you meth-addled cunt. But it started when you got here, so you gotta forgive me for wondering if one of you did something bad. He was a fucking 9-year-old, and brought that guilt back to his poisoned land to grow the seeds again. Duke doesn't sound like himself at all, not even his recently crazed self. Still, though, I don't want to admit it. I start to have an idea of what Duke might be getting at, how this all fits into our history. And judging from the look of the gathered crowd's faces, the feeling appears mutual. There's murmured inquiries about what to do. Heather so quietly sobbing, asking a group of people who ignore her why no one is helping Keith. Genevieve Sanders, a retired mail carrier from Peyton, mentions something about a lynching. Jenna's arms are crossed tight, her expression is sort of furrowed, indignant stare that slowly falters to upset confusion. TJ's next to her, one paw on her arm. I can barely hear him, but he keeps saying he's sorry over and over. Leo begins to tug at Chase, pulling him back in the direction of the van. The two begin to hurriedly walk before Auntie speaks up. Stop! I always had this niggling desire, this idea, of getting justice for what happened. Sid deserved as much, but now, I can't say I'm feeling any catharsis or joy. Just this hollow rumbling from my insides that this ain't right. This can't be how we fix shit. Carl has his head down now, the ram-acting smile despite his burly proportions. I just want to move beside him, tuck him under my arm, and fuck off far away from here. Get back over here. Leo clutches Chase tighter, and the otter wincing as he struggles to wiggle free from the wolf. I can walk on my own, Leo. Leo seems to ignore both the mayor and Chase as they approach the van. Jenna quickly shoves her phone into her purse, the Finnick visibly trying not to look at anybody as she, TJ, and Carl and Dax join them. Jesus. I rub my aching head. Fuck this, I gotta get out of here. Hear a clicking noise to my side. Horrible noise is deafening. I clutch the sides of my head and crouch down. A brass shell casing falls and hits my leg. It's hot. Duke's pointing his pistol into the air. Our group stops in their tracks, TJ falling to the ground and covering his face. Heather is shrieking, screaming over and over again. Second, y'all. Woo! God, this is fucked up. And then suddenly she stops. Some failing of movement from the group that was standing near her, like the dancing you see at raves. When I look again, I can't see her anymore. Misha's gone too. Him and the few others scattered. I can faintly see the bat's silhouette in the distance sprinting into the desert. What the fuck, Duke? I scream at the weasel. Need to get their attention for the mayor, yeah? That's no fucking excuse! That shot could come back down and kill somebody! Duke clutches the pistol limply in his grasp. I thank you for fucking mentioning that. No one ever seems to understand if you shoot something up into the air, it's going to come back down and hurt someone. Possibly. It's a bullet, not a rocket. It's not going into space. Duke clutches the pistol limply in his grasp, seemingly uncaring where he's pointing the loaded weapon as he twirls his wrist about. It's a bit late for that now. Folk been hurt already. And they'll continue to get hurt till we stop this. I hear shouts of agreement from the remaining crowd. Auntie just nods, and I can't help but give her a dumbfounded look. I clutch my repeater close. Spiders. Spiders got him, that right, Flynn? She points to Chase. Yeah, he sat in a nest of them. Duke. She holds up a finger, fast-walking back into the office without another word. Duke watches our group by the van. Everyone's quiet. His pistol is aimed up at the sky. After a minute, she returns with a piece of faded paper clutched in her hands. There's some old-timey writing on both sides of it. She holds it up to Mark and Duke. Mark uses his cell phone as a light, and they begin to read, Duke lowering his gun. I can see Jenna moving by the edge of the fan. She's motioning toward me, then Duke. What does she want me to do, disarm him? One quick chop of the wrist. I'd do it, I guess. I'd have to drop my repeater, though. I don't really want to risk that, at least not yet. Surprisingly, Chase speaks up. What's it say? Boy, I think you know what it says. You were rooting through our stuff and plucking all these records Thursday. James Hendricks notice of death. Carl visibly stiffens. Alright, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!